Good evening. So, Hurricane Florence is on its way. We used to be in the path, but as of noon today, they said it was going to turn south. So it looks like it's going to maybe go around us. But who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? So I figured I'd get my shave in a little earlier than usual. And Declaration Grooming B5 knot on a tall whip dog handle. I like to soak my badger brushes in a cup. It's optional. You don't have to do it this way. But that's just the way I like to get my badger wet before shaving. Soap we're going to use today is a discontinued. I don't know what base this is in. Glissant. Maybe the one before Glissant. Does it say anything that might give us a hint? Let me show you the ingredient list there. Smells terrific. Very interesting. It says on the front, Fern Mousse de Saxe. I don't know what that is. Ylang. I think that's a like a citrus type fruit. Famous especially in the Orient. Sandalwood. And some came across. One had snagged it. It's been used by somebody else, but not by me yet. I'm looking forward to trying it out. Pretty cool front. I avoided it in the year and a half now that I've been kind of, familiar with these type soaps. I've seen it, but I've avoided it because I don't like the flapper 20s stuff. And so that Art Deco design, it just made me think of something that it probably wasn't. And so I'm glad I managed to get hold of some because it's got a very intriguing scent. I hope it keeps that scent as we're going on. Do I smell? Fern. Ylang. Don't really smell any of that. Of course, I don't know what Mousse de Saxe is. But Ylang, Sandalwood, and Fern, I don't really get. But who knows? Maybe because they are so well blended and intertwined that it's hard to discern. Let's just hope that's what it is, right? So I am going to scoop out a 1/4 teaspoon measure. And I'll press it into the bowl. Comes out easily because it's reasonably firm. There's not a lot. It doesn't like stick on your finger, that kind of thing. So in this particular bowl, this is about what it looks like. About a 5.5 interior diameter bowl. Key that's different with this one than like the fine lather bowl or the Captain's Choice is that this guy goes about 3/4 of an inch higher. And to me, that makes all the difference in the world. Get my face wet, prep it for the shave. Cold water. My water's hard as well. And the blade for today is the Nacet that I've been cranking on for quite a while. Last time I shaved with this, or at all, it was with a Gillette Silver Blue that was only 3 uses old. And that's because this guy's had so many uses, I hadn't really gauged how good and comfortable and smooth my new razor was because I was using it with this old blade. So 42 uses is what this guy's had. So let's make it 43. He is in the Wolfman razor. And there's the base plate. And then here's the Nacet. You can see the discoloration toward the edge there, that's all that soap buildup, because I'm not cleaning the blade. I don't want to risk damaging the edge. I pat it dry like every month or something like that, but otherwise it just air dries. I loosen up the head so a little bit of airflow can come through, and I just sit it up there and let it dry. That's it. I shake it, you know, before I put it up there. I've got a little bit of a throat thing. I'll try to mute you or pause you if I have to cough. All right. So let us take our lather bowl. I'm going to throw and sling out as much water as I can, and let's just start mixing up. We'll see what jumps out. Sometimes part of the dry puck stays dry and it doesn't get wet, and it doesn't become part of the actual lather scent. Yeah, that's interesting. I think I can smell that citrus, a little bit of sweet note to it. And now I'm going to start adding water. I'm going to do it about a half teaspoon at a time. I smell the greenness of the fern too. And those two notes, maybe that greenness of the fern is the high note, the note that's taking up all my nose right now, kind of thing. If there's sandalwood in there, I'm having trouble discerning it. Already got a little paste, early lather forming. 1.5 teaspoons. Water is now in the lather. Yeah, that fern is there big time. That's enjoyable. It's not feminine. That fern with the fruity citrus, that's nice. That's interesting because sometimes I'll run into a scent, a fruity scent that is kind of one-dimensional. It's a nice orange scent, but it doesn't dazzle me, and so in many cases I don't really know that I'll ever really want to go back to it. But if I have a fern scent, this soap is telling me that it could be a really good idea to combine those two. I'm going to refill my syringe to 2 teaspoons in case I need to add more than 2. So now I've got 2 teaspoons in there. If you don't know, YouTube has a speed control. You can set that to maybe 1.5 for playback and speed and all that, and that'll speed you up so you don't have to wait. Usually you can still understand the words at that speed. This looks kind of dense right now. I like the scent coming up. I haven't had a chance to really experience a good fern because I tried the reserve fern, and it's just got some feminine, some kind of floral in there with it. Totally put me off. Don't like that at all. This one, not so much. just green and floral. I'm sorry, green and ferny. Nothing feminine messing it up. Lather looks great. This may be all I need to do because it changed consistency on me. So we're probably getting to that point. With those ridges in the bottom, I can go back and forth across the middle like that and kind of get maximum agitation action due to the circular ridges on the bottom of this particular lather bowl. And this is thick and dried up, so it must have been pulling more soap out of the brush. I thought maybe I put too much water on it. Let's take a look at the peaks. Short. There we go. If I grab it that way, shows off a little bit of elasticity. Let's do a finger test. We don't want to take it too thin. Feel the resistance a little bit. I do feel the ridges on my fingertips. I'd say about pretty well. Let's stop adding water. Since it was just doing more mixing, since it wasn't really protecting too much against feeling my fingerprints, the ridges of my fingerprints, decided just to do a little bit more stirring, and if it needs to combine any more to make it a little bit creamier, that might be good. All right, I'm gonna pause you while I rinse my face. All right, just 24 hours of growth is what we're dealing with here. Hopefully this will be a nice strong scent that I could enjoy. I like it medium. I mean, just kind of somewhere in the middle. Go ahead and grab some more. As you see, this is kind of dissipating. Here's one of the keys. Look on the side of the brush. Oh, look. Interesting. Did I just lose track and add too much water? I may have. Usually there's a lot on the built up right there. So I'll go back to my lather bowl here, get some more. See if we can thicken it up just a little bit more. And then now, see, that's more normal. Look at that soap on the side of the brush, because then when I switch to this motion, I can make use of that. I may have put too much water in here. This may be an older base that I'm not quite used to. I don't know if this was made in the glissant or not. Let's grab even more just to make sure. During the shave, we'll probably hear the wind and rain pick up. We are getting the outlying bands of rain right now from Florence. They originally said it was going to land on, it'd kind of be a category 3 when it hit. I think it switched down to like a 2 or a 1, so that's good. Definitely some coastal homes that are getting it rough right now. I was watching on the little web news feed. All right. This is the 0.67 gap. I didn't mention that before. And it's just a notch above the standard gap. And if you're new, that means aggression. You know, how much does it bite and try to cut? You can kind of choose, and a lot of people I think do have some razors that are, you know, maybe a little higher than average on the aggression scale, and then some that are lower. The lower ones are nice because they provide really comfortable shaves. But that means that less of the blade is exposed by the razor, which means that sometimes they don't get as close of a shave as they could. But sometimes that means you just do more passes, or you just stay happy with the shave that you get because it'll probably be reasonable. Some of them, like the wonderful Gillette Tex, T-E-C-K, those guys are just bulletproof. They've been shaved. They've been used by so many people successfully. But what it is that there's less exposure over the blade, and you've got to figure out that exact right angle. And when you do, you're rewarded with a really close shave with a smooth razor that's very comfortable. But some people don't take the time to find that. And many times I leave some water on my face after I rinse before I lay on my next pass. But because this one is a little bit thin, I decided to towel, just dab a few times with a towel to maybe help my skin not to be quite so moist, and maybe we can get it'll be easier to get a thicker layer than before. Good news is, if I have to keep going back to the puck for lather, that I can, to the bowl. If I run out in the bowl, then I can just go to the puck, rub around a little bit, and be good to go. We'll see. See if I need to do that. Get a little bit more lather. The tips on this brush are really soft, and so even if an aggressive razor has kind of abused your face a little bit, where you've made some bad angle choices, or your pressure's not that great, this brush helps you to still do your job with the brush without stirring up any more irritation. There we go. Nice layer of lather. I'm really so happy about this Fern scent. It's just like my first time with it, because it's just usually a feminine. It's got added other scents and feminine and florals and things like that that make me not want to use it, but not this one. I'm really, really liking it. And when I say fern, I'm really talking about the whole scent. You know, it's possible. I believe I can detect a little bit of sandalwood in there, but it's probably one of those things where I'm only smelling it because I read that it was in there. And I definitely believe the ylang is evident and a part of the blend that I'm enjoying. I think it's softening up the fern a little bit, perhaps. Very light. Not any, as little pressure as you can get away with, so that you still keep the blade on the skin, is my advice. And this is a 43 use blade now. No irritation, and I'm getting great shaves. Gonna rinse this off. One interesting thing that we can know is that this lather will hold water without breaking down very nicely. I overwatered it just a hair, but the soap didn't break down. It kept its wonderful properties, just being a little diluted. And so then what can happen is I put more lather on my face. A little bit of the water gets evaporates during the process, and so it thickens on my face as I keep adding. Nice glide I'm getting from the blade and the razor right now with this soap. It's working well. Just the scent is spectacular. I don't know why in the world they discontinued it. I mean, I could probably ask around and see if there are other scents like this that don't bring in the florals with the fern and stuff. There we go. This is like the perfect amount of soap. I think I've got enough for a touch-up pass if I need it. Probably will. The first, I think maybe 8 uses, I did not need a touch-up pass. 3 was perfect. I had a great shave, but you know, somewhere after that, it started to where I needed a touch-up pass, and it's kind of stayed that same quality the whole time. Really, this blade is doing really well. And again, they say that the guys who have taken blades to the 100 count mark say that it's really not about the blade, it's about your technique. So I'm just trying to focus on that and keep my mind on the basics, like pressure, like I was telling you about. Angle. They did say that one of them said they found a little bit of a correlation with more aggressive razors and being able to go to the 100 mark. Maybe a more aggressive razor cuts down on the number of strokes you have to do because it's cutting well. I don't know. Maybe it sets the blade at a better angle that's more suitable for preserving the edge. I don't know. Gonna rinse this third pass off. And yeah, we've got a little bit of hairs there that are showing some tips. So let's get out all of the soap that we can from this guy. Plenty of soap to put on my little danger zone here. Nice and slick. A little bit extra. The hairs here kind of go cross grain. They do point down just a hair, and so by coming at this area with an angle, this area here with an angle kind of flat to the ground. I am taking a very slight against the grain angle to it. Just lightly touching, and that helps with irritation. Not just try to stir it up, as well as getting nice close cuts. All right, I'm going to rinse it off. So I've been focusing on a little area right here that has been so tough to get the hairs gone. And right now that's cut really well. I'm just seeing the tips. It's pretty much cut flush. So I'm really happy about that. It looks like another area I need to watch out for is just about half an inch down away. It must be at a different angle or at a different part of my neck. Maybe I need to do some skin pulling or something like that to try to get that well with this kind of old blade. But no irritation, no pulling of hairs. It's cutting well. It sometimes on the first pass, it's not, okay, always on the first pass, it is not as smooth as most of my good blades. All of my favorite good blades are when they're young. Okay, so that is something that has lost, that has gone away with the uses. But it's not really that bad. It's not even bad. It's just, especially I take it slower, take it a little bit slower, and it just cuts. It's nice. How about that? So 43 is in the books with the blade, and let us see what kind of post shave we feel like. Ylang, Fern, see what I have. I'm not the kind of guy to collect sets in general. I might have sets of my just most favorite fragrances, my soaps. But in general, I just have a few. And this one has bergamot in it, which is a citrus. And I get a strong, even though it's almost last in the list. This is Tallow and Steel Classic Aftershave Splash. Oak Moss, Vetiver, Wuyak Wood, patchouli, geranium, anise, rosemary, lavender, and bergamot. And the way a lot of those are not things that I enjoy. Don't like anise. I don't think I like a lot of oak moss. Geranium's kind of, I shook it up. This is one you have to shake to mix it up. Theirs don't have alcohol. And I thought that the bergamot would blend well with this scent. I think it does. I think it works well. Rub the excess on my arms. I get all the scent going on. The Tallow and Steel are nice because you can ship them internationally because they don't have alcohol in the splash. So other shavers can really enjoy them. Another thing is that you don't get the sting. If you don't like that burn after putting on your aftershave, then check out they're a good company that puts healing ingredients in instead of just scent and alcohol. Let's see what some of them are. Coconut fruit, essential oils, witch hazel, aloe, glycerin, organic licorice root, willow bark, cucumber, rosemary, radish root ferment. Interesting. So those are some of them. So some healthy things to help your skin out. Really nice. I like theirs. Okay, I'm going to clean up and I'll be back. I also like how the Tallow and Steel splashes do not contain menthol, at least the ones that I enjoy don't. So how much water did we use? 2.5 teaspoons. As you saw, Barrister and Mann, no problem with hard water. They never have, as far as I know, haven't had a problem. So next time I might recommend myself just sticking with maybe 2 teaspoons of water. for that amount of soap, which may be just a tad less than 1/4 teaspoon, for reference. As I am going back and forth between my whipped dog 22 millimeter silver tip, which is a very a low backbone brush. Many would consider it floppy. I guess I would too, now that I've kind of played around with it like this. And what I have discovered is that I think I am liking the Declaration brush. Many people are not going to be surprised at that, because I mean, this is this brush is more expensive. It's got a lot more hair, a lot denser, and it has more backbone. You can see that one, after just like 6 uses, is pretty much splayed all the way open, and this one, with probably 4 or 5 more uses, is still at this shape. And so it's definitely got more backbone in its fibers. That's the current trend these days, is to have really soft tips, is try to find a brush with really soft tips, but plenty of backbone in the bristles here. And I don't really care about trends. I care about what I enjoy. I care about whatever I like to use. And so these are really soft tips. I'm trying to exercise them, because it is dense, and so sometimes I feel like I'm shoving my skin around a little bit, but just now it was more comfortable and enjoyable than in general than the whipped dog. And it's taken me a while to say that, but that was the purpose of switching back and forth. I might pick another one of my silver tips and do the same thing. Oh, that's a good scent. I like to smell my brushes afterwards, because a lot of times it'll blend the 3 most recently used soaps, and it's often presents me with some nice combinations. So there we go. And the good thing is, I am pretty sure that Declaration brush is going to keep opening up very gradually, very slowly, but open up a little bit more. And the more it does that, the less core fibers there are right in the front that make it difficult for me to kind of keep splayed and all that stuff. So that it'll get better and better, I believe. And so I'm really liking that. So this shave was all about enjoying that Beaudelaire from Barrister and Mann. And I've exclaimed over it enough for the video where I'm not going to do it anymore. And that was what I learned today. The blade continues to perform just like it has been over the last 25, 28 shaves. Just chugging along. It's doing great. Still, 95% baby butt smooth on my cheeks without even going against the grain. Neck looks great. I think if I was at a job where a person was 4 feet from me, even under scrutiny, I think it would be probably just fine. And that's with an old blade. It would be even better with a young buck, right? So it's going to keep on going. I know it's going to go to 50. Will it go to 100? I have no clue. I mean, it's going to start dropping off at some point. But there we go. The brush, yeah, what I learned this time was I'm definitely favoring that type of brush. I have a Virginia Chang silver tip Badger that has had a little bit more backbone than like my Whip Dog brush, and so I may bring that in as a comparison. Keep going back and forth between some of the silver tips I have. Learn more about each one. All right. Well, I hope that there was something here that helped you. Hopefully tomorrow night all will go well. I'll still have power. Be able to get online and post another video. All right. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Hopefully it won't be Sugar Daddy's drowning in floodwaters. Take care. Good night.